Welcome to Make It Rain with Adam Schein on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Yes, Tuesday edition of Make It Rain with Adam Schein here on VSiN, and my goodness, we've got a show for you today. I've always said this forever. This is my favorite week when it comes to sports betting, sports conversation, sports content. The NBA playoffs are on fire. The NHL postseason off the charts. Games and hits and misses from last night. We obviously have a ton of action in terms of the NBA and the NHL for tonight as well. We'll get into a couple of baseball takes and plays. Listen, we have some movements in the betting markets, and it is monster movements when it comes to the team for Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why we were light years ahead of the curve on it, what it means, and why I hope you were paying attention when we gave you 2 weeks ago our favorite play and prop for the NFL draft with regards to Jackson Dart. Zach Cohen is going to join us. We'll chop it up with the VSiN.com superstar, talk some NBA playoffs, see what Zach is playing for tonight's action, and some big picture plays as well. Listen, last night was one of those great fun nights in the world of sports betting, games you thought you had in the bank, and then obviously goes a different direction. So I want to start with everything that we loved last night with regards to the NBA and the NHL. And frankly, if you look at the Kings and the Oilers and Ovechkin and Kawhi and my Knicks and the Pistons, that really was a special night in April postseason action and betting. And my goodness, I told you not to touch the Pistons and Knicks game because I thought it was going to be a wild ride. And I hope you at least paid attention to that if you were thinking about, banking on the Knicks and betting on the Knicks, and the spread was 6.5, as you see. Listen, this was a terrible loss for my Knicks. Absolutely, positively terrible. Let's give the Pistons some credit, obviously. First playoff win since May 26, 2008. That ends a 15-game playoff losing streak. Cade Cunningham was absolutely terrific. He got roughed up in game one. Game two, he was absolutely positively remarkable. And let's give Cade Cunningham some love and some monster credit for that. I thought he was absolutely sensational. Over 30 points, 12 rebounds, absolutely all over the court. He was remarkable in every possible way. And I thought the toughness showed by the Detroit Pistons when the Knicks made their requisite fourth quarter comeback. Man, that was special. They were tough. They were dominant. And listen, when Jalen Brunson did his thing, and truth be told, right? First quarter, I'm annoyed. Second quarter, I'm really starting to get aggravated. Third quarter, as a Knicks fan, I'm just pissed off, right? The Pistons are absolutely sticking it to my Knicks at MSG. And the Knicks are down by 13. And then they come back in impressive fashion. And, Jalen Brunson was remarkable. And he had 14 points in the fourth. And when Josh Hart slammed it home at 94-94 with about a minute to go in the game, truth be told, hands up, I thought the Knicks would find a way to win. That's the script. That's what they do. That's what makes them a tough-minded team. And the Pistons, and this was a fun game, old school throwback, 90s Knicks and Pistons, physical, refs were letting them play, which I loved. And then Dennis Schroeder, who was John with Hart, John with Carmelo Anthony was sitting front row. He stepped up and hit a monster three. They couldn't make that shot or find someone to ultimately make a big bucket on Saturday night. Schroeder, bam! That was incredible from a Detroit perspective. And then you saw Jalen Brunson drive, 15 seconds to go. They're down 3 after the Schroeder make. Wide open Mikal Bridges. He missed the entire borough of Manhattan and Brooklyn, which is where the Knicks got him from in that deal where they gave up all those first-round picks, which I loved. And that's part of the story. And Bridges, topsy-turvy, uneven first year. You're going to make your legacy and, determine whether or not you get dangled as a piece in a Kevin Durant deal by what you do in the postseason. Wide open, and you could tell it was short. His form was off. His shot was awful. That was terrible. Bridges was having a really good game. Tom Thibodeau crying foul about the refs and lack of foul calls. That was garbage, and I'm always a Thibodeau fan. I thought that was some weak sauce, and I thought that was very disappointing. That was a bad look by Tom Thibodeau, and so was the offense in the second half. How about the fact that Mikal Bridges did not have a point in the fourth quarter? Karl Anthony Towns, 0 second half points, 0 shots in the fourth quarter. And honestly, you can blame Cat if you want, and sure, he takes some blame and some ownership of that, obviously. But where's the innovation on the part of Tom Thibodeau? That's on the coaching. That's what needed to be addressed post-game. And listen, you know I've said this for months on Make It Rain with Adam Schein. You know that we talked to our resident Pistons fan, Patrick Maher, about this last week before the series. Take a look at the series odds board. I told you this thing was going at least 6. And if you're a Pistons fan, you got them right where you want them. And I never understood, and we talked about this, right? Why the Knicks were such heavy favorites. And the Pistons, let's be clear, and I was at the game on Saturday, Pistons have punked New York. I mean, the Knicks have barely outplayed Detroit. I mean, Detroit has outplayed New York for 7 of the 8 quarters in this series. Let's be crystal clear. So there is a real chance here that the Pistons could win this series. And I still like the Knicks to win, and I still said Knicks in 6, and I'll stay with that. But it's officially series on. And the Knicks need to get their heads out of their derriere and start playing some ball. And last thing I want to hear about is the refs when it comes to what transpired last night and what needs to happen moving forward. That was a terrible performance by the Knicks. And they had a chance to seal it. Steal it. Bridges missing the entire borough. Man, that was rough stuff. I told you before the playoffs started that my favorite series, Clippers Nuggets. And honestly, this is living up to the hype. And Kawhi Leonard, my goodness. I mean, this was pitching the perfect game. 15 of 19 from the field, 79%, 39 points for Kawhi. And he becomes, this is the 4th time in his playoff history. He's had a 30-plus point game, 75% shooting from the field, tied with the likes of Shaq and Kevin McHale and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Those are bigs, obviously. And you almost got to jog the mental Rolodex sometimes. Remember who Kawhi is, what he does, what he's capable of. You know, he won a championship in San Antonio, burned that bridge, goes to Toronto. Raptors fans should always have a soft spot for him. Only lasted that 1 year. I thought he should have signed there. Instead, he takes the money, goes to the Clippers, and obviously helped invent the load management in the NBA. And listen, the Clippers Nuggets is going 7. First game goes overtime, Denver wins. Second game, Clippers win 105-102. Clippers have unbelievable coaching, high-level talent. James Harden could not get enough of what Kawhi Leonard was able to do. Ty Lue is remarkable here. And listen, this is the first game that the Nuggets lost when you take a look at the post-Malone era. And obviously, they were running circles around the competition. So, you know, if you like the Nuggets, when you look at the series odds board, you can get good value now at plus 140. This was one where it was minus 110 for both teams going in. I picked Clippers in 7. I'll stay with Clippers in 7. But my goodness, I mean, you take a look at it. This was really next level special stuff here from Kawhi Leonard. And, you know, Jokic had a chance at the end. It was a contested 3 to tie. Couldn't go. Christian Brown had a great look to tie. Wide open, and he missed. Kawhi Leonard pitching the perfect game. That was really special stuff last night. Now, you can make the case that the greatest thing that happened last night, when you look at postseason, NBA, NHL, Alexander Ovechkin. I mean, this is Ovi's world, and we're just living in it. Scores his first career overtime playoff goal, and this was incredible for the Washington Capitals. That was absolutely positively amazing as they beat the Montreal Canadiens. This was en route to being a bad night at the office for Washington. Third period was sloppy, bad penalty, allowed a goal. They go to overtime. Instead, Ovechkin, oldest player with a 3-point playoff game since Joe Thornton back in 2019. Oldest player to score or assist on all of his team's goals in a playoff game. That's next level stuff. Obviously, this on the heels of, you know, having the ability to move past Wayne Gretzky and break his record for goals in a career. And listen, now that they got that one out of the way, obviously, I mean, look at the series odds board, minus 50 now for the Washington Capitals to win. Absolutely, they are going to take care of business. And listen, this could be this special kind of over year, right? When you look at the NHL Eastern Conference odds, this is a spot in a situation. If you believe in magic after he beat the unbeatable Wayne Gretzky record, Capitals plus 450. Listen, my bet, my pick, Maple Leafs at plus 380, but Capitals at plus 450. If you believe in talent and magic, and I'm rooting for it, this is obviously incredible stuff. Kings beat the Oilers, and I had the Oilers money line, so I was pissed off. I mean, how about Connor McDavid? That was incredible. First of all, Kings were up in this one 4-0. It's a shame that this one was a 10 o'clock Eastern time puck drop on ESPN2. It was 4-0 Kings. Then it was 5-2 Kings. My guy, friend of the show, Zach Cohen, scored to make it 5-4. McDavid's ridiculous goal, the incredible speed, was absolutely wild. Just incredible. We're going to overtime. It's tied to 5. But then they give up a cheapie with 42 seconds to go. Oh, there goes my bet. There goes the Oilers winning game 1. Draisaitl came back. He had a goal to make it 4-1. That's one. If you are an Oilers bettor, Oilers fan, if you pick the Oilers like me to win the Western Conference, that's one you needed in the bank. Man, that bothered me. How do you give up that cheap goal? Edmonton was going to win in overtime.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The NFL Draft is one of the few betting events where research beats reputation. And VSiN Pro helps you cash in right now. Get the VSiN Pro access through August the 1st for just $59. Full summer of the sharp betting insights at half the regular price. With VSiN Pro, you'll get daily best bets, including sharp insight into NFL draft props, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, 24/7 video access on the VSiN Watch app, full access to VSiN.com's analytics, betting trends, and expert breakdowns from the draft to the Derby and beyond. Every sport, every edge, one low price. Sign up now at VSiN.com/subscribe. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Welcome back. Make It Rain with Adam Schein. I'll tell you, there's nothing better than April playoff madness, right? This is one of my favorite weeks. I say it all the time. It's incredible with all the NHL action and the NBA action. And what makes it just unique is you have all these series going on at once. 4 in the NBA, in each conference, 4 in the NHL in each conference. And it's just wall-to-wall goodness of games that, frankly, just mean more. And I thought that Stars Avalanche game was just incredible last night. And what do you know? This series is now tied up at 1. Colin Blackwell coming up with that big overtime winner for the Stars. And that, to me, was a rather big deal last night. I thought Colorado, if they won that game last night, I was ready to declare this one over. I thought it was trending in that direction. So I don't think it's hyperbole here to say that Dallas saved its season. And normally, right, if you're Colorado, and I'm still picking Colorado, don't misinterpret, right? And Colorado, when you look at the series odds, is still the heavy favorite in Vegas, despite Dallas being the team that had the better record and having home ice. It feels like, because of that, winning last night and splitting was a win for Dallas. Because the odds favor the Avalanche. I still believe the Avalanche will win this series. It feels like Dallas made it a series by getting that win. They can get confidence. They can get their mojo back. Don't misinterpret. I'm still rocking with Colorado, but I thought that saved the season. Now, I don't want to be subject to hyperbole, but that was huge here for the Dallas Stars. My Blues. Listen, I don't regret the call of the 8-1, right? Because there was major juice attached to it. And if I hit, I'd be dancing in the streets. And the thought process was right. I mean, look at the final score. It's a 1-goal win for Winnipeg again. 1-goal win on Saturday, 1-goal win last night. You know, picking the Blues to beat Winnipeg because I didn't think there was that much of a difference between the two teams. I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. It's not going to hit. And, you know, you look at the series odds board, and frankly, I mean, at this stage, you have to anticipate it's going to be a super short series. But I had to take the flyer because I didn't think there was much separating them. I was right on that notion. I just needed the Blues to win a game or two when they had a chance to steal one going up against Winnipeg in Canada. Puck drops tonight in the Panthers and Lightning. Hey, Gary Bettman, don't try to get the party started too early. I mean, how is it that the NHL, you have some game ones on a Saturday, some on a Sunday, some on a Monday, some on a Tuesday? Very weird, but this series is worth waiting for. I think it's the best one to start in round one in the Eastern Conference. I think there's a case to be made for either one of these teams making a run to the Stanley Cup final. I hate betting against the Panthers on the heels of what these Cats did with Paul Maurice last year, and I love the Marchand deal. I'm taking Tampa tonight. I'm taking Tampa at home. I'm taking John Cooper's team to win the series. I think they will win in 7 games. They're confident, they're loaded, their goaltending situation is strong, and I think the Lightning, it's basically a pick 'em for all intents and purposes in Vegas, minus 105 for the Lightning, minus 115 for the Panthers. We will roll here when it comes to Tampa Bay. How about Senators Leafs game number 2? Maple Leafs lead the series 1-0. Senators at the Leafs tonight, and I think without question Toronto's going to win. And Toronto, you know, spanking the Senators. Kind of a big deal. Johnny Toronto was able to get it done with Johnny Tavares, and that was obviously huge. And that was a big deal when you look at Toronto and you look at the Ottawa Senators. And, you know, we love Toronto tonight at minus 166. If you're feeling feisty, you can go with the puck line as well. I think this is going to be a short series. Toronto has been so cursed. Bad losses, snake bit, however you want to phrase it. What could go wrong goes wrong. You know, I would not be surprised. I mean, take a look at the series odds board. I mean, the juiciest thing on the board here, because it never happens, is actually a sweep for the Leafs. Leafs plus 425. That one interests me greatly. Let's shift to the NBA. And it's not hyperbole to call this a must-win tonight for the Lakers. And I think Lakers are going to win. And Vegas clearly agrees. And I like to pay attention, obviously, to the point spreads. And, you know, I want you to think about this, right? Stay on this board for a second, guys. The point spread for game 1 was 4.5. Lakers were a 4.5 point favorite. And I love the Lakers, and I was dead wrong. They got their asses kicked 117-95. J.J. Redick challenged the physicality and where they were mentally and just rightly ripped apart the team. Luka Doncic said after the game, we let go of the rope. I don't even know if they knew where the hell the rope was. So Vegas sees that and adjusts the game 2 spread to make the Lakers even more of a favorite. And I get it. And I'm not going to bet this one tonight. Let me just say that for the record. But I expect everything that I thought from game 1, I think that'll happen tonight in game 2. I believe that. And I talked to Dave McMenamin, who's the outstanding ESPN Lakers NBA reporter, and he agrees with me. He brought it up. You got to see more Jackson Hayes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, you know, I disagreed in moment with J.J. Redick, taking him out and burying him on the bench, only giving him 8 minutes of action. I'm not going to tell you that I first guessed that. But I do think there needs to be an adjustment because, you know, the bigs are legit for Minnesota. And, you know, they don't have any for the Lakers. We've seen DFS. We've seen Vanderbilt act as pseudo fives. And listen, the Lakers, picking them to win the series in 5 games, I don't regret it. The Lakers survived the insanity down the stretch of the season. They played solid defense. Offense was amazing. I think you need to see more Jackson Hayes. I think Luka needs to be more involved getting others in the flow of the game early. That doesn't mean lose your confidence, never will, in terms of shooting. But Austin Reeves absolutely needs to be involved early. He, to me, is such a key. In addition to Hayes getting minutes and being out there and playing well, that to me is a big deal. By the way, take a look at the series odds board. You can get the Lakers right now at plus 125. I mean, that's something. I mean, that's noteworthy, considering after game one, they were before game one, they were minus 200. So that is a shift of all shifts when you take a look at the series odds for the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think the Lakers, I'm still staying with it, absolutely going to win this series. The Grizz are going to get thunderstruck once again, and OKC looking to go up 2-0 on Memphis. And I know that Ja Morant vowed that they're never going to have a poor effort like they did last time out. I don't care what Ja Morant has to say. I mean, SGA didn't even play well, didn't even shoot the ball well. And, there's no reason when you look at the game board for tonight to believe that Memphis could even hang within the number. And SGA's over points, frankly, interest me greatly. And OKC is my pick to win a championship. It was my pick before the season. The odds on that were incredibly tasty, incredibly juicy. We're staying with the pick when you take a look at the championship odds now. I don't see anything changing my mind in any way, shape, or form. So, yes, OKC will be the pick to go out and win a championship when you take a look at the odds at plus 160 for a title. And I just checked my watch. It's Dame time, baby. Damian Lillard is back, and not a moment too soon. This is huge. It's a big lift on the courts. It's a lift in terms of leadership. It is a lift in terms of juice. It's a lift in terms of scoring. It's a lift in terms of the fact that I picked the Bucks to win this series in 7 games. We will take Milwaukee tonight on the money line at plus 150. And I do think that Damian Lillard will have that kind of impact. Now, Pacers to me are remarkable. I love their coach. I love their star. I love their culture. I love what I saw from Pascal Siakam. I still think the Bucks win this series, as we said, in 7. You can get it right now at plus 195. But again, when Damian Lillard's on the court, to me that changes everything for Giannis and the Bucks.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
ProfitX is offering the best odds all baseball season long. ProfitX is a peer-to-peer sports exchange available in 40-plus states. First of its kind in the U.S., you'll be able to make your sports picks against other groups of fans rather than against sportsbooks. Exchanges guarantee the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. Download ProfitX today with the code VSiN. Earn up to $200 in profit cash over your first month. Welcome back, Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Joining us right now live in the Progressive Guest Line. You know him, you love him, you can't live without him. Our guy, Zach Cohen, VSiN.com writer, betting analyst, superstar. Z-Train, how are ya?
I'm good. I'm pumped up with the NBA playoffs. They've been really good so far. I just had my parents in Arizona visiting from New York, dropped them off at the airport like an hour ago, so it's been good over here.
I love it. Yeah, good quality time with the parents. Bring them from New York to Arizona. You're a good son, Z-Train. You're a great human being and a great sports bettor as well. And listen, I'm with you. These NBA playoffs and the ratings are up. The buzz has been fantastic. You love the NBA. I love the NBA. We love watching. We love betting. I went to the Knicks game on Saturday with my son, trying to be, a great dad like your parents are with you, and you are giving it back to them. And I thought for sure it was going to be a mirror image kind of game, 94-94, and the Knicks couldn't get it done. What did you see last night with the Pistons and the Knicks? And Z-Train, I told you this thing was going at least 6. I mean, if you're a Pistons fan, better backer, you have to feel really good right about now.
Yeah, I think I've either mentioned it to you off the air or on the air. I don't remember, but I think the Knicks are in play for Danny Hurley this summer. And part of that is just I don't think that, Tibbs is capable of taking them to the next level. And I think you've seen that now a few times, and definitely in game 2 where the offense was just stagnant. Like, you don't go out and acquire Karl Anthony Towns not to use him. I did not like the way that the offense looked with Jalen Brunson playing hero ball last game. They need to find ways to get Towns involved. Mikal Bridges needs to knock down some shots after what they invested in him. If that does not happen, the Knicks are in trouble, because obviously going back to Detroit, it's going to be a very, tough place to win. I think we're probably going to see the Pistons at least split. So yeah, I think this series is going 6 or 7.
I think it's going to be a legit flip of the coin the rest of the way. I was stunned how much the Vegas odds favored New York going in. Still think the Knicks will win, but let's be clear. Pistons have outplayed them in 7 of the 8 quarters thus far, and now it's going back to Detroit. How about Kawhi Leonard? My goodness, that was pitching a perfect game. This was my favorite series going in, and wow, has it lived up. Overtime game 1, down to the wire game 2. I was struggling on picking a winner for this series. I went with the better team and the better coach. I went with the Clippers in 7. I'm curious what you saw last night and what lies ahead. Weird game from a Jokic perspective. Missed some free throws, turned it over. But my goodness, buckle up, Buttercup. Z-Train, this is going to be an exciting finish.
Yeah, that was as good as it gets in terms of playoff basketball. Like, Kawhi Leonard was unbelievable. Just the way he was, creating shots for himself and just knocking them down while contested. I thought it was, it looked like a vintage Kobe performance, and just definitely a vintage Kawhi performance with just how athletic he's looking again. It's very fun to watch. I do think that the Clippers, kind of stealing home court advantage should be what they need to go on and win this in 6. I think that, Denver has played very well in these first 2 games, but a lot of that has been Russell Westbrook knocking down, uncontested 3-point shots. I don't think he's going to continue to do that the rest of the series. I think, the Clippers are going to continue to dare him to shoot him. And, as they move to Los Angeles, he'll probably start missing him.
Bucks Pacers game 2. I checked my watch. It's Dame time. Lillard is back for this game, which is not a moment too soon if you're a Milwaukee fan or a backer and better like me. I've got the Bucks winning tonight. And listen, that's going to be a Herculean task. Indiana's a tough place to play. They've got a really strong team. I thought Spicy P was awesome. They're deep. They're talented. Nembhard, he did an excellent job. I think they could play even better, which is crazy. They destroyed the Milwaukee Bucks. But I think Dame is going to help change everything tonight. What are you playing tonight with the Pacers and the Bucks?
So I only have a player prop in this. I took Nembhard over 10.5 points. He had 17 in game 1. I think, Dame is going to give them some offensive juice. Like, they really need it. I said before the series that they're relying on too many kind of spare parts outside of Giannis Antetokounmpo to, provide offense. And those guys are not really reliable. Bringing Dame in is going to help. But I think that Dame is a player that, can struggle on the defensive end. So I think that they're going to continue to struggle to defend opposing guards. And that should work well for Nembhard, who is really good at attacking the paint, can knock down open threes when he gets them. I think he's going to continue to thrive in this series. And I'll be honest, there's a point where this could go a little bit too low and I would be jumping on Indiana. I think if this gets to 3 or 3.5, I might jump in with a Pacers play. I have the Pacers to win this series. I think it's going to be more interesting with Dame out there. But like I said, I think he hurts them defensively too. So I'm not sure it's, the huge boost that they need in terms of winning this thing.
Grizzlies Thunder tonight. I mean, they need to put a V-chip warning on that game on Sunday. My goodness, that was not suitable for kids who were tuning in. And SGA didn't even play well, Z-Train. I mean, you can't be backing the Grizzlies in this one, can you?
I am backing the Grizzlies. I don't feel great about it. Like, I do not think there's any chance they win this game outright. And I usually don't love backing teams that I don't think can win. I just think this is a lot of points. Like, I think that Memphis played about as bad as you could possibly play on both ends of the floor last game. And that's maybe to be expected defensively. offensively, they have only, very far up to go from where they were in game one. This was a top 5 team in adjusted offensive rating in the regular season. I think we're going to see some much better performances out of them offensively. And I do think that the Thunder are going to have a few games in these playoffs where they struggle a little bit offensively, just because I do think that outside of Shea, they are, they have some question marks. It's not, a really scary situation, but there were moments last year where Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren looked uncomfortable. I think that teams will be able to bring that out of them occasionally. So I think this is a game that we're going to see Memphis kind of bounce back with more effort and keep it somewhat respectable. But I do think the Thunder win and, move up 2-0 and go on to Memphis and win the series.
All right, I can't wait to dive into Timberwolves Lakers with you, and we got to give credit to you. You nailed it on Minnesota for game one. You said you liked the money line, and my goodness, I love the Lakers laying the 4.5. Now, it goes noted to me, and I'm curious to get your take and reaction to this. The spread was 4.5 on Saturday, and I laid the 4.5 with the Lakers. Vegas saw how atrocious the Lakers were. The spread is now 6 coming up for the ball game tonight. Listen, I'm sure it's, house on fire, desperation. Austin Reeves gets going. You assume Jackson Hayes is going to play at least double-digit minutes. Whatever it is, I'm not going to bet it. I'm not going to lay the 6 because, I still have PTSD from what happened on Saturday. But Z-Train, I do love the Lakers tonight. What do you see tonight with the Lakers and the T-Wolves, and also big picture for this series?
Yeah, I like the Lakers tonight, too. I think there's a lot of variables that go into that spread, with one of them just being it's hard to imagine a LeBron James team going down 0-2 in 2 home games. So I really like the Lakers to win tonight. I actually put on the website a parlay of Lakers money line with Pacers alternate spread plus 5.5. That way, if the Bucks do go into Indiana and win, you have some points, because it probably will be a close win if Milwaukee does win. So I like that play if you're looking for a way to get involved here. But I do think that this is a good spot for Los Angeles. I think Minnesota shot the lights out in game one. And obviously that's something that they've been doing for the last couple of months. This has been a really good 3-point shooting team for weeks now. And that's going to be a part of the Lakers game plan, is allowing some players like a Jaden McDaniels to shoot open threes. I don't think that's going to continue to go in road games. So I really think the Lakers bounce back both offensively and defensively. But I think that Minnesota's in a really good spot in the series, just because all they needed to do was win one of these 2 games.
All right, final one for you, Z-Train. Draft is coming up. I'm obsessed. Give me a prop that you love for the NFL draft.
Yeah, so the only one that I have right now is a bit of a long shot. I have Shedeur Sanders going to the Rams, and that is just to play on, some of the news we've heard about Sanders potentially slipping. Yeah, there's these rumors about it potentially slipping, and I think if he gets to around 10, maybe 11 or 12, the Rams start thinking about moving up and getting their quarterback for the future, because obviously that player is not on the roster right now. It's Matthew Stafford there in Los Angeles, and that's going to run out very soon. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo, the backup quarterback, is their guy moving forward. I like Sanders to the Rams. I think that a lot of his, pre-draft positives and weaknesses are very similar to Jared Goff, where he's a player that, can make very accurate throws, big-time throws down the field when he has time, and maybe he's not the best mover in the world. He takes a few too many sacks, but being in a Sean McVay offense would bring out the best in him. So I really like the fit there, and I think that that's something we could see happen with Sanders going to Los Angeles, which would be a big-time box office move.
Oh, Z-Train, you're the best. Enjoy the playoffs tonight, the draft on Thursday. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you.
You're watching Make It Rain on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The NFL draft starts next Thursday. And VSiN knows every pick matters. Tune in for a special live show breaking down every pick from a betting perspective. VSiN Primetime Draft Edition starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Cashing Out Draft Edition at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Plus, explore our NFL Draft Hub and the VSiN Watch app, featuring exclusive analysis, team needs, and insights. Go to vsin.com/draft for the full coverage and stream it all on the VSiN Watch app. Welcome back. Make it rain with Adam Schein. news, notes, nuggets, nightly plays. And how about this nugget in terms of some monster Vegas odds movements for Shedeur Sanders? The betting favorite for weeks for Shedeur Sanders was the New Orleans Saints. And Mel Kiper Jr., the best in the business, the godfather of the NFL draft, and let me be clear on this, Mel Kiper Jr. needs to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I love our guy, Dan Patrick, trying to really generate some buzz and conversation on that. And I've interviewed Mel on numerous occasions. He's must-see TV. We'll be watching him. And when he mocked Shedeur to the Saints, they were the betting favorite. Well, now, based upon need, based upon rumors, based upon conversations, based upon Adam Schefter and what he wrote in his buzzworthy What I'm Hearing every single year ESPN.com rumor mill piece before the draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers are now the favorites. Also, if I may, what have we been saying about Jackson Dart's going 9th overall to the New Orleans Saints? First of all, let's go through this. The Pittsburgh Steelers and Shedeur Sanders make a lot of sense. And I think there's a couple of things that you kind of have to really dive into here with the news of the day, and it's the Shedeur Sanders drama draft. There are people who think that his comp is Andy Dalton. There are people who think that Shedeur Sanders' comp is Teddy Bridgewater. Now, if you think that his comp is Kirk Cousins, yeah, absolutely. Shedeur Sanders is worth a high first-round pick. I will absolutely fall over if Shedeur Sanders is drafted in the top 8 in this draft. He's not going 2 to Cleveland. He's not going 3 to the Giants. Hunter's going to go 2. The Giants are going to take Abdul Carter, which would be an amazing pick. I think the Saints either take the best player available or Jackson Dart. And we locked that in a couple weeks ago at plus 600 for Dart going in the top 10. I think Dart going ahead of Sanders at plus 150 is another good prop bet, another good bet. And I think the Steelers desperately need Shedeur. Guys, go back to the odds board. The two teams that make the most sense in terms of need and desperation, it's the Steelers and the Giants. And I think the other good bet, and Zach Cohen had it, the Rams at 20-1. If for some reason the Steelers pass on him, yeah, I could see the Rams taking a quarterback. I think the Rams will take a quarterback at some point. There's a wide range. First 4 rounds, probably they'll take a quarterback on day number 2. I think my guy Kyle McCord would be excellent for Sean McVay and the LA Rams. Pittsburgh obviously can handle Shedeur, handle Dion. Mike Tomlin would be great for him. And we've been saying that it's Pittsburgh who needs to be the most aggressive. Giants are number 2 on that list. Giants moving up out of the second round and trading back in for a second first-round pick. Getting Dart or getting Sanders, I think, makes a ton of sense. Tyler Shough could also be on the list for the New York Football Giants as well. But the market is speaking, and I think it's speaking loudly here. The drama with Shedeur is going to be off the charts. I can't wait for it. And I think the Steelers, Giants are the 2 most likely landing spots for Shedeur Sanders. Not the Giants at 3, but trading back into the first round. And buckle up, Buttercup. This is going to be a drama-filled draft on Thursday night, especially when it comes to where Shedeur Sanders ultimately goes in the upcoming draft. And again, I want to stress the Jackson Dart fit when it comes to the New Orleans Saints, which I think makes all the sense in the world. Let's get some baseball into the conversation. Francisco Lindor with 2 more bombs. Are you kidding me? I thought for sure the good times would come to an end last night for the Mets with the rival Philadelphia Phillies coming to town, and it wasn't the case. And, Phillies money line for us did not hit last night. Francisco Lindor continues to rock and roll. And by the way, when you look at the NL East odds board, Mets are making a statement here. And I did not have the Mets in the playoffs before the season started. And I still think the Braves with Strider now back on the big club, and obviously with Ronald Acuna Jr. coming back, I still think the Braves are best baseballs ahead of them. But take a look at the odds. Market movement here with the Mets now the favorites to win the division. I still think Philly will ultimately take care of it, but I also feel compelled to take a quick peek NL MVP odds board. Remember, Francisco Lindor was second last year. It's fascinating when you look at Lindor right now at 30-1. Boy, I know obviously about Juan Soto and the impact that he has on the Mets and the team, but just something to keep in mind as Alonso's not going to be the MVP. Juan Soto obviously, changes everything for the Mets, but 30-1, just saying. And I think the best bet on this board remains Kyle Tucker at plus 500 when it comes to the National League MVP. Max Meyer, have a day. Marlins beat the Reds, and our guy, Max Meyer, last night, 6 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts, 0 runs, 0 walks. There is a case to be made that this was the best start by any pitcher this season so far in Major League Baseball. Yankees lost last night in Cleveland, and if you're a Yankees fan like me or a bettor, that was obviously not great. Now, that's a big deal because Will Warren is on the bump tonight. Will Warren couldn't get out of the second inning last time he started for my New York Yankees, so not the way you wanted to see the Yankees start a series in Cleveland, and they've got the Guards tonight, and listen, it's basically even in terms of who you pick. I think that the smarter play, I'm not going to bet this one, but the smarter play would be on Cleveland. Dodgers-Cubs, that's going to be a fun one at Wrigley Field. I mean, it's one of those where you got 2 big market teams, 2 teams that were very aggressive in the offseason. We referenced Kyle Tucker in terms of the MVP and the MVP race. Shohei Ohtani is obviously the betting favorite. He's the unicorn. He's amazing. This should be a fun one tonight with the Chicago Cubs and the LA Dodgers night game, rightly so, with the Dodgers in primetime coming up at Wrigley Field. The Padres and the Tigers interest me greatly tonight. Kind of an underrated pitching matchup with Pivetta going up against Flaherty. 2 teams that have been really piping hot here to start the season. And I think that the Tigers deserve and command more respect perhaps than maybe they've been getting here when you take a look at some of the seam heads who talk Major League Baseball. It's interesting after the first weekend and a day when it comes to the odds for who's going to win the ultimately face off in the Eastern Conference. And I still maintain that the bet is the Celtics and the Cavs. Nothing has changed when it comes to minus 175. I can't see any team disrupting that. And listen, in terms of the West, all of a sudden there's more juice on my pick, which I'm going to stay with. Don't feel great about it, but I'm going to stay with it here with the Thunder and the Lakers at plus 370. Obviously, more juice attached now when you take a look at everything that has transpired with the Lakers and what we have seen with the loss, obviously, when you take a look at what transpired in game number 1. Time right now for Best Bets, brought to you by G-Bank, official bank of VSiN. G-Bank is up in the ante with up to $750 bonus for the new G-Bank Visa Signature Cards. First new customers who spend $1,000 on an eligible purchase within 90 days from account opening get a $250 bonus. In addition, if you spend $50,000 on gaming and sports app loads in the first 30 days of the account opening, you'll receive another $500 bonus, potentially $750 bonus. Apply now at VSiN.com/GBank, VSiN.com/GBank, subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply. Bucks, baby. I just checked my watch. It's game time. Damian Lillard's back. We'll take the Bucks to win. Bucks, money line, plus 150. You're welcome, America and Canada. Right after Make It Rain with Adam Schein. Follow the money, Mitch and Paulie, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Can't wait for the boys. We'll be watching on the VSiN Watch app. Then it's VSiN Primetime with JVT and Matty Humans. By the way, the Matty Humans, the mock draft on VSiN.com. Highest possible betting recommendation. Thanks to our friends in the Vegas studio, our producer, the great Mike Cohen. Talk to him on Make It Rain with Adam Schein.